Welcome to the Crypto Podcast. You'll find all our episodes on thecryptopodcast.org. We're also on BitChute and YouTube. You'll find the links in the podcast description. I've got 4 other podcasts: The Awakening Podcast, exposing fraud and corruption, but with solutions; Meditation Podcast to help you chill; Learn Polish Podcast if you want to learn Polish; and the Speaking Podcast to become a better speaker. And you'll find everything on bio.link/podcaster, as well as being a podcasting coach. Today, my guest, he's actually a speaker himself. He's into real estate, BNI, but we'll talk about that. Please welcome Jeff Clatterbaugh. Did I do your surname justice?
You did, Roy. Thank you so much. Yes, my name is Jeff Clatterbaugh. And basically I have had different opportunities throughout my life. I have been a coach, a sales coach and a leadership coach, certified through John Maxwell, which is a great foundation for things. I've run multiple businesses. I've run real estate businesses, finance businesses. I've organized and developed networking organizations for BNI, for Toastmasters, and my own sales achievement. Through that experience, I've kind of come into the Web3 space. I have entered into the NFT world as an investor first, which I think is important to learn some of the projects, get connected. I'm currently in the process of building a couple projects myself, an art pieces. The background has my art piece if you're watching the video. And right now I'm in the process of collaborating with a couple different organizations on an advisory board for a couple companies in the Web3 space to help them kind of develop and bring in my space, bring in what I do. That's a little bit.
No, perfect. And I suppose, obviously, we're going to delve into the NFTs and the art, but I'm a big fan of John Maxwell. I've had CDs, I've read a lot. I think I've 10 or 12 of his books. He is fantastic. I just love the way he explains. So maybe how you got into that, and because it kind of comes around, it's all important with the sales factor and building a community and everything. And I think people forget that side of personal development.
So Roy, you're 100% correct. And that's so important, right? I mean, people just are not they're getting it now in the Web3 space, in the NFT world. They didn't get that at first. They didn't understand the importance of you need to build a business, not a project. And that's huge. John Maxwell says everything rises and falls on leadership. And it's so true. Any organization, any community organization, any business, any church, whatever it is, everything rises and falls on leadership. And it's just so important. Really my favorite quote from John is this, and it really goes to servant leadership. And it says, "Follow me, I'm right behind you." Okay. And it really talks about how you give and serve other people, which is so valuable in the NFT space right now, to help other people. I have been involved in John Maxwell training and development for probably 20 years now. And I gravitated to his information right away. And I taught and helped people in business through his teachings. And then he came up with a certification program. I said, well, this is great. I've been kind of in this space for quite a while. It was a great idea to get some extra tools. And it was just a great experience to be with some great people in a wonderful community. And I think John's ethics and morals and beliefs are paramount, quite frankly. And it fits to everything. So
absolutely. And the other thing now as well is the BNI, because I've been part of BNI myself in Ireland. It done very well for me because it was very professional, organized, and it was mainly for property I was doing in Poland, and it was just very good. Accountants recommending clients and everything. But then when I came to Poland, they were more interested in their breakfast. But it's another part of building a community and getting clients. So you might kind of touch on your kind of experience with the BNI.
So I started a couple chapters. I've been involved in the organization for probably 25 years or so. And I did actually have an opportunity to meet Ivan Meisner. I do have a little side bet going on with him right now that I'm trying to cash in on next year, which will be an interview with him, which is nice. Looking forward to that.
And just for those listening, he's the actual founder of BNI. Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry. Yes, correct. He's the founder of BNI. I think they've been around about 35 years or something of that nature, 40 years. I'm not sure. So anyways, great organization. It's professionals coming together to building a business, and so valuable in relationship building. And, if you're in sales, or you don't think you're in sales, you still are. It's important, right? And it's important to have those long-term relationships. I have business partners that I've had for 20 plus years that are just so valuable, and it becomes a point of, it's practically family, really, right? And that is so valuable, to have that continuous connection with the right people who are building a business together, which is wonderful.
Excellent. And the third part of what we're doing to get before the NFTs, and I think it's a critical part that most people don't, is actually public speaking. And I know, because I founded a club myself, and I believe you've done the same. You're part of Toastmasters, so you might kind of tell me your little Toastmaster journey as well.
Yeah, so I was involved in public speaking, and before I knew about Toastmasters. And Toastmasters is a public speaking organization. And it is really, what it does, I think, is it helps people, one, get comfortable, right? As you know, but it also helps people how to structure a presentation, how to give a prepared presentation, and also how to think on your feet. And one of my big beliefs is, if you're in Toastmasters long enough, you'll understand and realize where the prepared presentation and the impromptu or thinking on your feet presentation cross. And they do, because they're two critical skills that support each other. And at some point, when you become a good enough speaker, you'll realize the value of how each one supports the other. So I ran Toastmasters for quite a while, a club for Toastmasters for quite a while. Got tremendous value out of it. I see confidence in people. I see the ability to speak. And there's different purposes. So on Sunday, we did a Twitter space, and we was talking about how to publicly speak on a Twitter space, because that's important, right? How do you present yourself? How do you sell yourself? How do you sell your project or promote your project the right way? And having those skills to do that. And public speaking is part of everything. I don't care if you're with one person, if you're in front of on a stage, with hundreds of people, or thousands of people, or whatever the case may be, there's a lot of value in it. And there's a lot of personal value for things in life, a toast, a eulogy, things like that really impact people's lives. That's so important. And if you're trying to promote yourself, I think that becomes critically important. I have people coming to me now to help do the speaking for their businesses, because they have not obtained those skills yet. And I just think that public speaking is a huge, huge value, and it puts you in a good seat, basically. And I've seen a lot of people really grow.
No, absolutely. And especially in this kind of crypto, people trying to raise funds, like you can have geniuses that have invented a new coin or a new system or whatever, but they're not able to actually stand in public, and to have somebody that can actually get the message across and connect with the investors, it's invaluable.
Yes.
So you mentioned Twitter, which in turn kind of connects back as well, because I'm seeing that in this space for the NFTs and everything, Twitter seems to be where people are connecting. And at one stage for me, like I don't know, I was doing real estate just like yourself. Twitter was like 7,000, I had 7,000 followers or whatever. But I found it was like a follow for a follow. And then I just unfollowed everybody. It took a while because there was no magic button to do it. And I had something like 4.5. So bots were actually connecting with others. But like, what's your experience in this field? Not normally, but in the kind of crypto world.
So, that's a good question, right? And I think Twitter has really connected into the NFT Twitter space more than anybody else, right? In the crypto space, more than anybody else. And what I have found is I have built a community, or I am building a community in Twitter that is really unique, right? So I have other social media platforms that have different types of business connections. In Twitter, I've pretty much completely built it around NFT in the crypto world, and I am organically building that. Okay, so it's taking some time, but it is growing, and it's through connecting with people in Twitter spaces, in different events that I see, maybe a live event that I was at Art Basel a few weeks ago. I met some great people down there. It was a great opportunity to connect with them on Twitter, and growing it organically is so important. And I've grown it. I mean, I still have a small amount of followers, but it's growing, and I can see in the next 6 months I'll have it grown to quite a big size, and it's a little at a time. And you got to do the work though. You got to be out there. You got to be hustling. I don't care what it is in life. I do think Twitter is the right avenue to do that. We do. I have a business partner, and we do some other marketing on other platforms. He's actually an influencer on Instagram now, so that's a great avenue. We do stuff on pretty much all the platforms, but I think the relationship building is coming through the Twitter and Twitter Spaces primarily. So,
excellent. So, with this art, you might tell me what exactly you're at.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
I like what it is, because you're creating art to convert the art into NFTs. That's the kind of main project that you're building.
Yes, correct. So what happened is my business partner actually switched his job to go back to traditional art. Okay, so he actually went back and really went to his passion, which was kind of a graffiti art look, which is what's behind me, but it's also some other things, but just going to where his passion is at. And that's a beautiful thing. So we started talking, and we've been friends for quite a while. And I said, well, why don't we look at doing this and launching a digital project? And he said, he thought it was great. So we've been working on that over the last probably 6 months or so. We put out some small projects, and we are currently working on a little bigger project on Nifty Gateway, and looking forward to that. And we're collaborating with some other people on that. They're going to be doing some marketing and some things that are, I think, going to be very valuable. And that'll probably be at the very beginning of the year. And we're looking forward to that. So we took kind of traditional graffiti art, digitalized it. We're looking at some different angles, some different ways of looking at things. The biggest thing in the whole NFT spaces, though, is ultimately growing your community and your connections. And so we're really feeling like we're taking steps. And part of that is being in these Twitter spaces and growing the community. It's part of it is our marketing. Part of it is real life connections with people. Like any business, you have to have relationships, which is what we talked about in Toastmasters and in BNI is building those strong relationships, period. It takes time, like anything, there's people that have gotten in the NFT space who have not built relationships, right? They've basically thrown out a project, they've grabbed some money, and they've left. Going forward, I hope we see a lot more of traditional style business in growing a step at a time. And that's kind of what we're doing right now. So.
And because I'm actually creating digital art as well, but I took a step back because I've got artists, but I saw that it's such the Wild West out there because there's so many different things going. Like one, I wasn't aware until having a guest that basically I assumed that the art that you were getting was actually on the blockchain, but it's not. It's where it's stored and it's like a link to it. And the same with the royalties, but that has changed because the time that early on, you weren't able to actually share the royalties, but now you can. But there's different companies offering different things. So, I mean, you mentioned Nifty. You might tell me kind of why you've kind of went through that as opposed to OpenSea or the other 50. There's probably a couple of thousand of them at this stage.
Yeah. So there, well, a couple of points there, right? So one, there's a lot, I think, so in the art space, OpenSea has an art component to it, right? And they're a big platform that's on there is Art Blocks, and it's some more traditional artists that are on there that are doing some pretty good things, I think. Okay, but in OpenSea, it's a huge platform, so it kind of gets lost in the shuffle. Nifty Gateway is more gated, basically, right? Like you have to be chosen to come on to Nifty Gateway. Okay, so we're actually partnered with somebody that's been chosen to be on that platform already, and they're bringing us in. So they have a lot less artists on that platform, but they're also trying to vet people for higher quality, right? They want to bring a higher quality level out there. There's a couple other really good art sites. Super Rare has got some really good artists on there. I think I guess in my opinion, I think Super Rare would be kind of considered the kind of pinnacle of art world, from a traditional artist standpoint on there. So we're trying to get to that point, obviously, which would be great. And there's some other ones that has some things too. Tezo has a lot of art-based, pretty much is art-based platform completely. Is to the point of so many sites though, I think it does get a little overwhelming. I think it becomes almost confusing. And I think we're going to see some of that kind of stream down a little bit, So as the barrier entry gets easier, more people will be joining the space, and more institutional money will be joining the space. And it'll change things quite a bit. The easier it is, obviously, the more people will come in. But there's a lot of different spaces. And I think with Nifty Gateway, we're really hoping to kind of get a foothold and be known in the community for a particular type of project in a typical type of platform, basically. Does that make sense?
No, definitely. And with OpenSea, they're like 2.5%, I believe, is what they actually charge. What's Nifty's fee for? Is it similar?
It's similar. Yeah. I don't have the exact number in front of me because I've looked at a lot of different numbers, but they all range in that. They might be a little bit more than that even. I can't recall exactly, So yeah. But it's in that range. Yeah.
No, because I'm looking at some companies as well, and they're kind of doing like the protection, because I mentioned earlier that it's where it's stored. So normally some of them have it on Amazon or whatever, but somebody could have it on Dropbox and fail to pay it. So you have to buy. It's all right if you're getting something for $10, but some of this art, as you've seen, goes into the millions, and you don't know what way it is. But there's one company that's basically trying to have it that it's stored in 2 places, that's protecting people. And it's so like trying to look at that, and the royalties as well. So with Nifty, are you able to actually split the royalties? So just say if it was the business marketing, like, you're obviously, you're using your skill sets, and say the artist, you're able to actually put in the details of different artists that it goes directly.
Yeah. You can split the wallet, and I don't know what the limit on the wallets are, but you can, it's enough to make it work for whatever you're trying to do. So yeah, with some collaboration stuff, we have it split to a couple different wallets on that. And it's not a big deal. And I've done on some of our earlier drops, I've done some of the basic, development, or, basically the basic minting, because there's so many tools these days, I just use Manifold and, put together some basic, projects out there. And the same with this one. It's almost, some of this is almost becoming no technology for the minter, quite frankly, which is nice.
No, definitely. They're kind of simplifying it, which makes everybody have the same opportunity as they're doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you, because I know, like I've done a load of real estate. I've been working in real estate for, 20 years or whatever.
Yeah.
And have you looked at actually projects with NFTs and smart contracts at all?
If I looked at,
is it something that you're kind of going to get involved as well? Say with the real estate field?
I'm going to answer a bigger question, I think, here for you. Here's what I look at. I think everybody has to come in and they have to know their lane. In other words, like, go with their strengths. Okay. So if my strengths are business development, negotiating, public speaking, that's where I want to spend my time. Right. And then understanding finances, which I do because I do finances, is important too, right? And understanding how the crypto markets work, and some of that is very valuable. On the contract side, understanding the basic contracts is important, to your point. And I understand the basics. To delve in and to be writing contracts would be another level that I don't think I'll go to, or at least not to at this stage, right? The basic smart contract is in place for a basic project. As it gets more complicated, though, I would see bringing in someone that's in that space, right? I've talked to a few attorneys that are in that space that really can do that work for us. That's kind of what I think. Did I answer the question right?
Yeah. So we mentioned kind of building the community. We're kind of talking all about the advantages, and we mentioned Twitter. Like, I know Discord is another one that's kind of big in the space. To be honest, I have mine turned off for ages because it just wrecks my head at this stage. Like, how are you using Discord? And is there any other platforms that you kind of would recommend people for building their community?
Sure. I think, well, a couple of answers, I think. Yes, Discord is valuable. And it's a good place to have conversations, I believe. I believe there's more relationship building in Twitter Spaces than there are on Discord personally. I think I think the biggest part of this though is each person has to develop and design what communication channel works best for them. Okay. I think you can do it through Instagram. I think you could probably even do it through private groups and Facebook if you chose to, right? I think the important part is to dial into something. That's more important than anything else, I think. To really, my goal is really to create my marketing on Twitter, to create my relationship building on Twitter Spaces. And then I use Discord for some things, but not as much as I used to, because that's not my comfort zone. Somebody else might do it the other way. And I think Discord has value. And I think if you're in the right community, it has value, where you're actually having conversations with people. Sometimes Discord, to me, it got to a point, especially about 4 months ago, it really got negative to me. I just had to stop it because it wasn't doing me any good. It was just bringing me down. I'm like, this is not helping. I need to be somewhere positive, where I really see now I see where there is activity, there's more positivity right now.
No,
so that's good.
Makes sense. And because I had bought an NFT project, and somebody gave a shout out, kind of thanking me for buying it because he was on my show. But since that happened, it's like so many people tagging me just for useless stuff, like in Twitter. I don't know, have you experienced that yourself? Yeah, is that like, because the thing is, you don't want to really, I don't know, can you even turn it off? But it's not something that takes so much time like a Discord, where you're kind of people trying to reach out to you, but it's still something that, people that it's no reference to what you're doing, and they're just trying to promote themselves by tagging you.
Yeah. So, yes, right. So on Twitter, I've got basically two message centers, and I don't know how they're divided even. So I have one that is just, constant, BS, quite frankly, right? They're just promoting whatever their widget is. I don't even care. I don't even look at those. I didn't know what they are. My other section is I've actually very strategically used. Okay. So when I'm having conversations and someone's saying something intelligent and they have some good ideas on the Twitter space, I'm then following up when connecting with them and then having some conversation with them for multiple reasons. One, they're bringing value to the space. Okay. It's somebody I want to speak with, someone that I appreciate. I am hosting some Twitter spaces now for myself and for some other people. And through that, then I have kind of a group of people that I can reach out to and say, hey, like on Sunday, I reached out to somebody. I said, hey, I'm doing this Twitter space at 4. I'd like to have you on, ask you a few questions. I like what you have to say. And we're building that relationship, right? And that kind of group of people there, I keep building. I keep following them on their Twitter threads on what they're talking about. I understand more. I share. I promote them. I uplift them. I try to promote their shows. I promote their artwork. I promote what they're saying. I listen to what they're doing, and I kind of find that kind of group, right? That synergy of people that are doing things the right way, that are bringing value, and then I have that kind of resource to go back to and to help, and then and giving value to them. Hopefully, then it creates that bonds and builds that relationship.
Excellent. So just finally, you might tell me the projects that you're actually working on, that you're about to mint, or that you're minting, so people can actually go in and see, because obviously the picture behind you is lovely, so that people will be able to find you.
What projects we're minting?
Yeah.
Oh, the name of our project. So we have one that's called this one's called Tenacity, actually. And it's actually Tenacity by Ryan Lucas is what it's actually called. And one of the things that we're trying to do is have a message or tell a story, right? So tenacity is such an important part of our lives in everything we do. If you're building a podcast show, if you're building a business, if you're building an NFT business, whatever it may be, the tenacity to get through good times and bad times, right? And so right now is a great example of that. It's a challenging time. It's time to build this. You need to have the tenacity to get through that, right? So each of our pieces tie to that. Okay. We have a second piece that's kind of a fun graffiti piece. It's got some moving parts to it. It's called Kaleidoscope. And I think it says Kaleidoscope by Ryan Lucas, who's the artist, my partner. And that's the other one. The third one, and those are both on OpenSea. The third one has not been officially named yet for Nifty Gateway. And we will have that probably named and out probably, like I said, in a couple of weeks. I could share that with you, Roy, and to share with the audience later. But I don't have that name yet, or the determination of that entire project yet. So that's what we're working on right now. So
excellent.
And one of the things we're trying to do is follow and find the right businesses, right? The companies that are doing things the right way, Gary Vaynerchuk's doing some of the right stuff. The Bulls and Apes Project, I don't know if you've heard of them, are doing the right stuff. They're doing the right types of communication. They're doing the right types of business. They're doing the right types of marketing. And following what's happening in those communities is so important. And it's a great example of how to do things properly and grow things properly. So.
Yeah, definitely. And like I like the kind of collaboration, because my kind of thought process was one of the projects I had seen, it was with the digital artists, because a lot of brilliant artists, they're no good at marketing. And it's a case if they put it on OpenSea, and as you say, it's like, it's so massive, but they think people will just find it and come, and it's all about building the community and, connecting, and then just using marketing. There's hundreds of different things you can be doing, but it's a combination of everything. So I think it's, both of your skill sets is actually, and that's what I see as well. That's why I'm actually, building something, this similar, but in a different field.
Right. Well, that's what, you're a podcast, right? I mean, that's obviously, the podcast coach, that's huge, right? You are building that persona in essence, right? And that's important right now. And I've always said this in any business, but it's very, very true in this space, is there's the widget and they're selling the widget. And can you do both, right? And, there's some wonderful art out there that's not selling, right? It's beautiful art. It's great art. But if it's not marketed and the audience doesn't know about it, how are they going to buy it, right? And the artist needs to have that, They need to be able to tell their story. They need to be able to tell the story of their art, tell the story of who they are. They need to be able to promote and market and find their lanes. That's very important. And it could be a podcast. Could be an avenue, right? It could be just through organic. And the bigger piece is, if you can really build a sizable community, that's really where the success is at. And if you look at, go back to Gary Vee real quick. He's been building that community for 15 years. That wasn't an overnight success. That's a lot of hard work and grinding, quite frankly.
No, absolutely. Well, listen, Jeff, I think you've brought some very valuable information to the table based on how to do it properly. So you might let people know, how can they get in contact with you?
Yeah, Twitter is probably a great way. And my Twitter handle is I think it's Clatterbaugh_2. And you can find me right there. Clatterbaugh is only spelled one way. And that's a great way to do it. I can be found on most other social medias. I'm fully doxed. In other words, you can find my name anywhere. I don't go under different names or different handles on anything. So.
No, excellent. Okay. Thank you very much. I'll make sure I put the links both in the audio and the video.
Sounds great. Thank you, Roy. I appreciate it.
No problem. So that's all for the Crypto Podcast. As mentioned, we're on BitChute and YouTube. You'll find the links to the podcast description. Find everything about me, my 4 other podcasts, and my coaching bio.link/podcaster. Sure to give us a thumbs up, 5-star rating. Really helps. Until next week, take care.